Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play of Crimson Gray. Now, this story, in the short version, can be summed up as, well, I'm playing as a guy called John who is suffering from severe depression. So severe, in fact, that he ends up losing all sense of purpose in life. And then he meets a girl. A very special girl. The one that you see right here on the title screen, in fact. And, spoiler alert, apparently the draw to this whole story is the fact that he ends up falling in love with a character that is referred to as a yandere. And what is a yandere? Well, for those of you in the know, just think jealous love interest, but taken to homicidally insane levels, and there you go. That's essentially what a yandere is in a nutshell. I'm expecting to laugh at the sheer stupidity that John is inevitably going to have to display in order to make such a relationship happen with such a character. I'm probably also going to get angry at him a few times too, for also being essentially lethally stupid to himself and possibly a whole bunch of other people around him who are unlucky enough to possibly get in between him and this love interest that he's going to be trying to woo. And, well, I'm just going to probably just be essentially ranting into the ether about all this while tragedy inevitably unfolds. I'm not expecting a happy ending. But who knows? Maybe this will be a pretty entertaining ride the whole way through. All the way to what I'm expecting to be a bloody conclusion. So, I'm going to go ahead and get this started, and I'm assuming that there may be multiple endings to this thing, because I don't think this is a kinetic novel. But, well, if it is, then, well, whatever. I'll make deal with it. I'll make do. Let's start. Achievement unlocked. Definitely romance. Are you sure? Could be Stockholm Syndrome. John had always thought of himself as a stable person. So do most people, my friend. Stability worked out well when he was trying not to let the little things get him down. It wasn't so great when everything was crumbling around him. When the entire world started seeming gray and flat, then he began wondering if all that stability would kill him. And if he would care when it did. Oh, I see. So, you're going to meet Blondie here at some point, and she's going to be the most unstable force that you've ever met in your entire life, and that sheer instability, and the red that she'll bring into your life, shall we say, will just somehow play a factor into you developing a Stockholm Syndrome-like romantic crush on her or something, right? Because, hey! You're feeling something, right? Something other than just empty depression. I'm almost willing to bet money that's probably exactly how it's gonna play out. There weren't any highs or lows anymore. Whatever happened to him, John didn't feel happy or sad. He just felt nothing, felt numb, felt empty. All the above. Classmate 1. Hey, what are you doing spacing out, man? You're a real head case these days, John. You going to float away on us? Sorry, just distracted. A moment later, he started drifting away again. Even his friends' voices were nothing but buzzing in his ears, meaningless sounds echoing in his hollow shell. Try not to focus too much on that navel of yours. You might get some people really concerned about you. They weren't even really his friends. They were friends with the happy-go-lucky person he'd been at the beginning of high school. These days, they joked about him being no fun. but it was more than a joke. They'd get tired of him, find someone else, and then he'd be alone. Well, that's human nature. That's pretty much human nature for a lot of people, unfortunately, is, well, when you got a perpetual rain cloud hovering over your head, most people tend to avoid that because, well, who wants to be sad and depressed all the time? I mean, I'm not trying to downplay your situation here, John, with you suffering from depression and all that, but I mean, there is going to be a reason why some people will go out of their way to avoid you when they can just sense your negativity, you know? All the more reason why I suggest that you find a healthy influence in your life that might be able to bring some semblance of positivity back into your life. If such a thing can be easily acquired for you. I mean, I say you should still strive for it regardless, but I mean, the way I look at it, it's better to try to do something with yourself rather than just sit around and just dwell on your depression, because that will just create a vicious cycle where you're just focusing more and more on it and not doing anything, and it's on your mind all the time, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. He wasn't sure whether or not that would be worse. Whoa, is that creepy chick staring at us? Blondie, I assume? I think she is. Who is that anyway? Lizzie Doss, I think. In our year, right? John, doesn't she have math with you or something? It took a second to even register the question. They were staring at some girl who was staring back at them. I assume I can... Okay, so scrolling brings back to text. Right-click brings save. Just go ahead and do that. It took John a second to even register the question. Oh wait, I just read that. Yep, there she is. So I guess my main question for you, Blondie, aka Lizzie, is how quick will you be to knifing somebody if you don't get your way? Like, super spontaneous on the spot quick, or will you try to threaten people first? She looked the same as all the other girls at their school. Shyer, maybe. She could probably hear them talking about her. He wanted to say something, but kept silent. I bet she's staring at you, Johnny boy. Probably because she can see the rain cloud over your head, and she's probably thinking, that rain cloud looks interesting, but what about the person under it? Damn, she really is staring. She's staring at us? Or John? My bet's on the rain cloud above John's head. I think it's him. You think she's a stalker? Even the doll eyes of unhappiness are already out in full force. Not even a minute passes from her appearing on screen, and already we're seeing her give the doll eyes of unhappiness right at Johnny boy here. We're not wasting any time here doing any kind of build-up here that something's not well with this lady. Yeah, those are some crazy eyes. They can even see the crazy eyes! You better watch out, John. You're a real sad sack these days, but you can do better than her. I think I'm going to have to strongly agree with them. Even though all she's doing is just giving the doll eyes of unhappiness so far. God gut instinct, if you will, and, well, the game banner on Steam's page here. I mean, yeah. Shut up. And here comes back the shine. I guess maybe she finds Johnny Boy telling his friends off here attractive or something. Those words were past his lips before he could stop them. Why did he have to open his mouth now of all times? But he couldn't let them keep talking about her like that. Why? Do you know her? People called him creepy or crazy all the time, and he hated it. Yeah, but... Okay, so people call you crazy and creepy all the time here. What... I mean... Again, do you know this girl? Do you know why do you know, besides, this little thing going on here where she's just staring at you guys here, do you know the context behind why she's called creepy or crazy? Maybe it's something benign for all we know. Or maybe there might be something more to it that would actually justify the reputation. You don't know, so maybe you should try asking first before telling your friends here to not say that she's creepy or crazy or whatever, At least try to understand why other people see her that way first before commenting, Because for all you know, they might be onto something. But after those 2 words, he just stood there like an idiot. Even when something mattered to him, he couldn't pull himself together. What's wrong with you, man? Don't say things like that about people you don't know. You just hang up here like we are. I could also say the same thing right back to you, You don't know her either. No, she's giving us some serious crazy eyes. Just leave her alone, okay? She hasn't done anything to you. Sheesh. Okay, man. You think she's going to fall in love with you as her handsome protector or something? Not quite. I think she's going to fall in love with him as his beautiful protector. Because that's typically how these sort of relationships work. That'd be just like John. You want to talk about the crazy girl, be our guest. We're heading back to class. Don't wait up, man. The way her eyes moved, John thought she was focused on him so intently that she might not have even heard what the others said. Did it even bother her? He wished he could be like that, instead of the smallest of things sending him crashing to a state of worthlessness. But maybe she was like him, just capable of hiding it. John cleared his throat and walked up to check on her. Here we go. Well, I guess we're gonna find out. I guess we're gonna get a first-hand experience soon enough here on why she has the reputation that she has. Because I guess talking directly to the person in question is certainly one way to find out whether or not rumors about them are true. I would encourage that, by the way. Always seek the truth of stuff like that here, because sometimes rumors are just unfounded, untrue, At least just always make sure that the information behind the rumors has some basis in reality to it before flying off the handle and casting judgment. Anyway, I think I'm just repeating myself at this point. Hey, sorry about them. They can be assholes sometimes. Well, I guess I don't have a lot to say. Sorry if we bothered you. Not very talkative, is she? John slunk away and cursed his own idiocy. She had been fine without him. He just made everything worse. There had been something hard in her eyes. A strength he didn't have. He had probably been projecting all his weakness onto her in the first place. She wasn't like him. Wasn't broken. Again, how can you possibly know this? You only just had your first one-sided conversation with her. She could shrug off the things his friends had said and get on with her life. At least that meant she could shrug off his annoyance, too. She'd probably just forget all about him. Probably be better for you if she did, to tell you the truth. Holy shit, we got color. Thank you. You're so kind. Such a kind person. The kindest person. The only person. Yeah, I'm really starting to understand for sure now why she has the reputation that she has. If she really is just gonna be this quick about showing her mental instability. Even the wide grin is coming out already. I found you. I finally found you. I found you, you. So, John, are you feeling any semblance of unease yet? Anxiety? Maybe you want to consider keeping the emergency services number in the back of your head, just in case, because I'm assuming you own a cell phone, right? I certainly would if I was in your position. If someone, well, interacted with me in that way. The teacher's voice was incomprehensible, but John knew he must be picking it up on some level. He wasn't sure how, but even though he stumbled through every day, he was doing okay in school. Well, hey, that's something. I mean, really. It'd suck all around if even your grades were really suffering too, so good on you for at least being okay enough here to do okay in school. He could seem normal whenever he wanted to. It just didn't feel worth it. That was almost the worst part. He seemed normal even though nothing was normal anymore. It wouldn't ever be normal again. So I guess my question to you is, what exactly is the source behind your depression? Is it just something that just you woke up one day and you just suddenly started dealing with depression? Because, I mean, that sort of thing happens with some people that does suffer with depression. Or is something going on in your home life that maybe we should know about here? Suffered a big breakup at some point early on? Like, I would like a little context, if there is any to give. What did Mrs. Smith say? Or is it Smythe? High-functioning depression. Such an awful, empty phrase. I'm not quite familiar with that specific type of depression. But I assume you're going to tell us exactly what it is, right? You know what? I'll look it up real fast. Okay, I looked it up, and what I got here is from Wikipedia. Whether or not you want to consider this a valuable source to refer to this information on is totally up to you. But on Wikipedia, it's listed under the title dysthymia. I don't think I'm saying that right, but anyway. Persistent depressive disorder, PDD, formerly known as dysthymia, is a mood disorder consisting of the same cognitive and physical problems as depression, with less severe but longer-lasting symptoms. The concept was coined by Robert Spitzer as a replacement for the term depressive personality in the late 1970s. According to the 4th edition of Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, published in 1994, Dysthymia is a serious state of chronic depression, which persists for at least 2 years, 1 year for children and adolescents. Dysthymia is less acute and severe than major depressive disorder. As dysthymia is a chronic disorder, sufferers may experience symptoms for many years before it is diagnosed, if diagnosis occurs at all. As a result, they may believe that depression is a part of their character, so they may not even discuss their symptoms with doctors, family members, or friends. Dysthymia often occurs with other mental disorders. A double depression is the occurrence of episodes of major depression in addition to dysthymia. Switching between periods of dysthymic moods and periods of hypomanic moods is indicative of cyclothymia? I hate these words, which is a mild variant of bipolar disorder. In a DSM-5, dysthymia is replaced by persistent depressive disorder. This new condition includes both chronic major depressive disorder and a previous dysthymic disorder. The reason for this change is that there was no evidence for meaningful differences between these two conditions. The term is from ancient Greek, I cannot read that, which meaning bad state of mind. So, in a nutshell, I guess high functioning disorder is just really just a less severe, more long-lasting variant of the thing of depression. You can it's not severe to where it's not severe enough to where you're unable to really hide your symptoms from other people, but it stays with you longer and it still affects you strongly enough here to where on the inside you're probably not really feeling all that great. You're not really feeling all that great in general most of the time. I'll have to do a little more research on this later here, just so I can check out other sources on this thing. But I'm going to assume that this is at least the general consensus behind what high-functioning depression or dysthymia or whatever you want to call it is. Anyway, enough reading about that. Let's get back to the game. At least class was over now. He could go home, sleepwalk through his assignment, and then fall unconscious. At least for a few hours he could... There she is! Then he became aware of her. She was watching him. How you doing, Lizzie? Beautiful weather outside, wouldn't you say? The sky's a little gray right now, but I mean, those faded clouds that I see past the window look like a panther or something to me? I don't know. Maybe she wanted to thank him. No, he was being stupid. He'd done nothing worth thanking. Tried telling that to her. More likely she wanted something from him. Or, most likely of all, maybe she didn't care about him and he was imagining the whole thing. I can only hope that that little spiel she was going on about on the roof was indeed only in your head. Because if it wasn't, then, well, again, I strongly suggest that you have the emergency services phone number ready. She was still staring, though. Ooh, I get all kinds of choices here. Ignore her, lose her in the hallways, glare at her, smile at her, go talk to her. I'm pretty sure this game is going to dictate to me that I should go try to talk to her and shit. But the more sensible option, I guess, would be anything but that. Let's try ignoring her. He decided that he was probably imagining it. There was no reason for her to care about him. He needed to get to his appointment anyway. Okay, so He didn't want Mrs. Smythe getting mad at him again. So you are seeing a doctor, for sure then, okay. Mrs. Smythe was one of the only people John could focus on. He wasn't sure how much good she actually did him aside from prescribing medicine, but at least she tried to help. John, you're not looking so bad today. Did something good happen? Depends on your definition of good. But whatever did happen, it was enough to bring a little bit of color back into John's life. For a small moment. A boy your age ought to be more interested in girls. Are you dating someone? No, I can't focus on people. Maybe I could prescribe you something for that. We don't have any on hand now, but I could get quickly. That's an advantage of having Koitek in town. So, is your treatment methods just simply listening to what people describe their symptoms as and then just prescribing them medicine for every single little thing that you can think of? I mean, you do actual therapy, I hope. Like, you do actually try to help talk with John through his problems, right? Right? I don't want to take this medicine anymore. I don't think it's working. The Paxitine? But that's the first one you've really responded to. If he was already responding to that, then what was he like before being on those meds? I feel worse. Everything's so gray. Voices just echo. Can't I go back to a generic medicine? John, you need to understand that you are deeply, clinically depressed. It's my professional opinion that you should, under no conditions, go off your medication. When you're getting used to a medication, there can be some initial side effects, such as, in the case of Paxitine, sometimes things have to get worse before they can get better, okay? I just hope you're prescribing the right shit then, for his sake if nothing else. Okay. All he heard was that he was too broken for any drug to fix. He was so worthless even the newest drugs from Koitek didn't do anything. So who said that you were too broken for any drug to fix? Just out of interest. I'll renew your Paxitine prescription and see about getting you a complementary drug. We'll figure this out yet, John. Now, why don't you lie down over there and we can begin our session. Good. Get comfortable. Okay, so you are doing actual psychiatrist work then. Actual therapy. That's good. Did anything special happen during the day today? No. It was a normal day. Don't lie. You met a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl named Lizzie who pretty much told you in no uncertain terms that you are the only one. The only one. The therapy session quickly fell away into a meaningless buzz. For a short time at least, he didn't feel the emptiness. Finally, or too soon, it was over. Mrs. Smythe told him he was doing well and sent him on his way. Is she even picking up on you just kind of tuning in and out? John slumped back home. The house was empty, like it always was. Ever since his mother left, his father spent all his time working. Okay, your parents are essentially out of your life most of the time. Especially your mother. Why did your mother leave? He did his homework. He ate. He cleaned the dishes. He sat down in front of the TV and stared at it without turning it on. Somehow he dragged himself into bed and fell asleep. The routine used to be comforting, but now it was starting to erode his sanity. His mind had to crack eventually. Maybe it was already happening. For a second, he thought he saw a girl out the window. I'm willing to bet a good portion of my life savings that it's not your imagination. But no, there was nothing. Of course there wasn't. He really was losing it. Another day. He had to face it somehow. It seemed impossible until the moment he finally stumbled into class. School was the usual mindless buzz. There was a job fair announced in third period, as if that meant anything at all. Almost everyone in their school would either go to work for Koitek, move away, or stay in town and become unemployed. So how much of the general business around town does Koitek own exactly? Are they like the Umbrella Corporation with the classic Resident Evil games, where they pretty much own all of Raccoon City? Wouldn't that be a plot twist? Koitek is actually creating viral monsters behind the scenes, and you, John, are one of the guinea pigs. John wondered which one of those would happen to him, but from a distance, as if he was thinking about some person he barely knew. His grades were good enough to get into Koitek, but the process was so competitive. No, he didn't have enough energy for that. He couldn't imagine moving away, looking for a job in a strange city. Why not move to the countryside? Most mornings, the most he could imagine was surviving the day. Maybe the countryside lifestyle might do you some good. Get closer to nature. Just food for thought, you know? But his father wouldn't support him, and his mother didn't want him. Once he graduated, there'd be no way he could stay with either of them. Again, I want to know, why does your mother not want you? What exactly is the context behind your unstable family situation? Maybe if I understand that, maybe I can understand better how to help you. Well, with whatever help I could give anyway. Which, well, would be limited to whatever the game allows me to do, I guess. What would happen to him then? Would he just become homeless? Sit there on the street begging for change until one night he froze to death? Maybe that was all he deserved. I don't know you that well enough yet, John, but I don't have any reason to think that you deserve to starve to death on the streets, man. So, don't think like that. Seriously. John, are you alright? Sorry, sir. I'm paying attention. Honestly. I didn't ask that. I asked if you were alright. I'm fine. Well, be sure to talk to the counselor if you're feeling bad, alright? We're lucky to have someone like Mrs. Smythe with us. I really hope I am saying her name right. He had to keep it together. He remembered the lessons, but if people were starting to think something was wrong, his control was slipping. Honestly, I think it's really better for you if people realize that there's something wrong with you, so maybe you can get additional help that you might need, you know? He had enough time to visit his locker in between periods. There was more Paxitine there, He still had an extra dose left for the day. Don't take too much of it. I don't know what the hell Paxitine is, if it's even a real drug, but don't take more than you absolutely need to, you know, or are supposed to. Because I'm assuming that's a drug that you are limited to taking only certain amounts of doses of, and taking more than that would be very bad for you. His locker was on the bottom row, so he always had to bend down, and there was a piece of paper sitting in the middle of his locker. A note from Lizzie, perhaps? Cheer up! That was all it said. Nothing on the backside, no other clues. Probably a girl's handwriting. Well, it could be, maybe it's a guy that just writes really fancy. Who left it? Hey, did you see anyone messing with my locker? Huh? Something gets stolen? There's way too many guys around here for me to notice. It might have been a girl leaving a note. Like, a love note? Keep dreaming, John. You think any girl is going to love your sorry ass? Well, gee, thanks, dipshit. No. Of course, no one could love him. I beg to differ. And frankly, so would Lizzie. Especially Lizzie. She would very, very, very much beg to differ. Or at least, well, she thinks she loves you anyway. Because I'm going to assume that her affection for you is the very empty, shallow kind where she's just using you to try to feel something in her life. Kind of in a semblance, like, kind of in a way similar to depression in a sense, I guess, if you want to look at it one way. Because that seems to be a somewhat common thing I occasionally see with yanderes in fiction, is that, well, they often are suffering from problems of their own. Probably in their own home life, relationships with other people. Maybe they've just had a series of bad incidents, a strong case of bad luck at some point that's just been going on for who knows how long, and they're just not doing too hot. And so they just try to cling on to somebody, or something to try to give some semblance of stability and happiness in their life. But but once they find something, they end up taking that desire to have that stability so seriously that they often go homicidal in their efforts to keep things as they think they should be. You know what I mean? If I'm making any sense right now. I think one character that comes to mind here that kind of fits that description is a very famous one from Future Diary. Maybe some of those who have seen that particular anime series know exactly who I'm talking about. So you didn't see anyone? Okay, thanks. Hey, John. You going to tell me she's a Canadian? Okay, so why would that be an issue? I'm heading back to class. See you later. And she's really hot, right? Your imaginary girlfriend sounds amazing. What do you got a thing for imaginary Canadians, buddy? I'm pretty sure you should see somebody for that. John knew he should probably just take some more Paxitine and head back to class. Yet, you're gonna pick a fight with this dickweed, aren't you? He was still holding on to the paper. He wasn't sure why. It really could be a prank, one of the guys trying to trick him. If so, it would probably be followed by another fake note, asking him to come out under that stupid confession tree, where they'd let him wait and then laugh at him. There's Lizzie. But just for a moment, he saw the girl watching him. Could it have been her? Well, as far as I'm aware, you don't have anybody else here who has eyes for you, so she's the prime suspect as far as I'm concerned. By the time he got to class, John had a new theory. She felt sorry for him. He must have looked pretty pathetic, and she recognized his misguided good intentions enough to feel pity. Or maybe she just really, really, really wants you in her life, by any means necessary. The reasons why, well, maybe we'll find out within the next episode or two. Or maybe even this one, things are just going to speed along that quickly. Who the hell knows? But I'm pretty sure we're going to at least learn about Lizzie's backstory and why she is clearly not all right in the head sooner or later. The rest of the school day passed in more of a blur than usual. He might be delusional, but part of John still hoped it wasn't a prank. He headed to his locker, not daring to imagine anything. And there was another paper waiting there for him. Another one? What's he gonna say this time? They shouldn't say those things about you. Maybe not, but, well... What exactly would your solution be to make it stop is what I want to know. Oh, shit. It didn't even look like the same person's handwriting. The first had been beautiful calligraphy. This one was a hurried scrawl. If it was all a prank, he no longer had any idea where they were going with this. Oh, I know exactly where they're going with this. And honestly, I think they're making it perfectly clear. They shouldn't say those things about you. Now, if they keep saying those things about you, what do you think might possibly happen? Come on, John. Think. Think. He'd already been beating himself up over saying the wrong thing. So this was too much for John. He headed straight home to get some sleep before he cracked completely. The next day, John went as early as possible and approached his locker anxiously. He wasn't sure what he wanted to find. What is that, amber? There was no note this time, but it's chocolate. But there was a chocolate heart wrapped in foil, set in the exact center of the bottom of his locker. Methodical? That's definitely not a good sign for a yandere. John stared at it for a while, then slipped into his pocket and headed to class, even though he knew he would be far too early. John, weren't you ever told as a kid, don't take candy from strangers? You're literally doing the exact opposite of following that advice right now. There was no way he could eat it. If it was really a prank, they might have slipped a laxative or something inside of it. That was the kind of thing his friends thought was funny. But if it was that girl... It didn't matter now. What mattered was that someone clearly knew his locker combination and could get in whenever they wanted. That could be a real problem. Maybe you should consider... okay. I'm assuming your locker has a rotating dial locking mechanism, right? Is it the kind that isn't separate, that goes through a little ring through the door and just locks the door that way, or is it part of the locker door itself? Because if it's a separate thing, you could fix this by just simply getting a lock that you have to open with a key. He knew he should come up with a solution for tomorrow. But what? Tell a teacher, tell Miss Smythe, try to keep watch on the locker, replace the lock, leave a note. Replace the lock. That day during lunch, John stopped by a hardware store and purchased a small padlock. Taking great care to avoid letting anyone look, he used it to close his locker. There were no messages waiting for the rest of the day, but he couldn't escape the sensation that someone was staring intensely at him. Well, I kind of expected this, but, well, I think it's probably better than having threatening messages left in your locker. Maybe. Oh, then she'd probably just end up leaving him on his desk or something. Oh boy. Maybe I should have thought this through a bit more. Successful or not, just accomplishing something made John feel a little better. As he went home and fell asleep, however, the sensation of being watched just got worse. When he woke up the next day, he felt even better. Things would be fine so long as he kept everything in perspective. Maybe. Making an effort to set the mystery of the locker aside, John went with his friends to the rooftop for lunch. They spread out on one side, enjoying the sight of the trees below. Midway through the meaningless conversation, John noticed that Lizzie was watching him from the far side of the roof. Her gaze was even more intense than before, so he uncomfortably tried to ignore her and focus on the conversation. Do you ever eat, Lizzie? Just out of interest? I mean, you gotta get bored of watching him at some point, right? Hey! Cherry blossom trees, or is that a Sakura thing? I'm not sure which. But either way, we got some color. Looks like the confession tree is in full bloom, huh? You really believe those stories? True love and all that? It works, man. I got a buddy who just graduated. He swears he got so much pussy confessing under it. Well, if he kept doing it, then it's not true love, is it? I guess so, yeah. Come on, people have been confessing there for years. You seriously think everyone would confess under the tree if it did nothing? Well, they could just do it if it, as, some kind of school tradition thing, People sometimes do that shit like that. Ah, man, I think it's a tree of lust. It doesn't guarantee true love, just getting laid. If that was true, way more guys would be into it. But it's mostly girls from what I've seen. What do you think, John? I don't know. Aw, don't be that way. You dream of a girl confessing to you under that tree, don't you? Don't give Lizzie any ideas, guys. Yeah, like that crazy stalker chick. It'd make your heart go aflutter if she confessed, wouldn't it? Don't aggravate the crazy stalker, guys. That tree is magic, man. I'm telling you, even a sad sack like you could get lucky if you confessed there. Don't insult the love interest of the crazy stalker right in front of her, guys. Don't be stupid. It's just a tree. Don't say it's just a tree, John. Whoa. Someone has their panties in a twist. I'm telling you, everyone goes there. Only because people like you keep telling these stories. There's nothing magic about the tree. People just believe it's special because everyone else says it is. Girls think the tree is romantic, so of course they're more likely to agree there. And guys would have to turn someone down in front of an audience. That's all it is. Shit, man, what is wrong with you today? With an attitude like that, you're never going to get a girl. You insulted the tree. It'll cock-block you now. Well, maybe not necessarily in the case of Lizzie if she feels that strongly about him, but my advice to John would be in that case is simply this. No matter what you may end up feeling for this lady, I implore you, don't stick your dick in crazy. Please. That day, John couldn't get to his therapy appointment fast enough. Mrs. Smythe smiled at him when he came in, but immediately saw he was unhappy. Are you okay, John? Perhaps you should be on a stronger formulation. Are you... seriously, I hope that's not your go-to answer for every time something goes wrong is just more medication. Seriously, please tell me that is not your go-to thing. No. Well, our session should make you feel better. Lie down and get comfortable. Mrs. Smythe, does Paxitine have any visual side effects? I should hope not. Koitek has the highest of standards for every drug it puts out, and Paxitine is nearing its final clinical trials. So this thing isn't even finished with clinical trials, so does that mean that John here is basically being used as, well, frankly, a volunteer test subject? Are you having any vision problems? John lay back and stared out the window. Was he really seeing differently, or was it all in his head? He stared a long time before he opened his mouth and just started talking. Everything just feels so gray. Okay, so the H key gets rid of the text bar. So you are having vision problems? Not literally gray, it's just the sky today. I remember when I was younger, I always thought clouds were beautiful. Now it's like there's just nothing there. Nothing that matters. I look up and I just don't care. That sounds more likely to be a mental issue then. Why don't you get more relaxed and talk about it? Taking a deep breath, John did his best. As usual, after talking with Miss Smythe for long enough, he felt not better necessarily, but at least not miserable. Well, at least it's something. The session went by in a flash, and then he had to head home. He shuffled through his routine easily enough, slept fitfully, and then returned to school barely more rested. But when he arrived, he found a huge crowd standing and staring. Are you doing something crazy, Lizzie? What's going on? You know that tree students like to confess under? The words made John shiver even though he wasn't entirely sure why. He shifted to look through the crowd. And then he saw it. What the fuck are you doing, Lizzie? Oh. Achievement unlocked. A special kind of romance. I guess that explains the burning tree right behind the game banner on Steam. Parts of the tree were still burning, but the rest was char, and ashes coated the ground under it. His throat was dry, as if all the ashes were filling it. Yeah, I'd be very scared right now if I was you. What happened? The cops are coming to check it out, but the shop teacher said it looked like arson. Someone covered the tree in gasoline and burned it down. See, this is why we need cameras. I've been telling the principal for years, but does he listen to me? No. No one thinks. The words slid off his mind, and John turned away without even saying goodbye. Not entirely sure what he was doing, he stumbled straight to his locker. His padlock was still holding his locker firmly closed, but he could see that a paper had been wedged into the slits. Well, so much for the lock. John took it out with trembling hands. I didn't like that tree either. There's even a little angry emote on the thing. Good God, that just makes this thing even worse, somehow. He stared at the words as if they were a foreign language, wishing he could avoid understanding the conclusion. I didn't like that tree either. Well, Lizzie was within earshot of you and your friends having that conversation about the tree. She was right there when she heard your rant about your displeasure regarding the tree. Circumstantial evidence points to Lizzie being the arsonist. So if I were you, I would seriously consider having your cell phone on the ready in case you need to call the authorities, and maybe you should get a blunt object for self-defense and hide it in a pocket or something, just in case. It was her. It had to be. None of his friends would be that insane. And what would be the point of a prank like that? To be an ass? But what was the point for her? What did she think she'd accomplished? Impressing you, maybe? Should he tell someone? Yes! Yes, you should! You should definitely tell somebody, even if you have no actual proof to back it up here. You should at least voice your suspicions here. Because, I mean, circumstantial evidence again here makes it like, yeah, just do something here, man. Don't just be silent about it. But this wasn't exactly evidence. And did he really want her to get in that much trouble? If she is the guilty party, and I'm pretty sure she is, she should be. John decided he was being stupid, like usual. No, you're not being stupid! You're being stupid now, but you weren't being stupid by entertaining those thoughts, man. You just need to talk to her to find out exactly what was going on. Put an end to this. Oh, brilliant fucking idea! Go talk to the person here who's been essentially stalking you, leaving you unsettling notes. Went on that little tirade at the beginning of the game when you went to go apologize to her, and well, now the business with the freaking tree. Like, put your brain back in your skull for a second, John, and please think about this. This is anything but a good idea. That day, whenever he was in the hallways, he could feel her eyes on him. With every passing moment, he became more sure that she had burned down the tree down. He wondered if a normal person would be afraid now. Most likely. I certainly am for you. But for him, it barely penetrated his numbness. That's very concerning to me, to tell you the truth. He just wanted to find out what was wrong and put an end to it. And just how exactly are you going to put an end to it? How do you think this is going to go down? Hey, did you burn down... Hey, Blondie, are you the one that burned down the tree? And if so, could you please not do that? And could you please stop leaving me notes? And could you please just stop stalking me in general? Like, seriously, do you really think that's going to end well? For fuck's sake, at least have somebody with you as a witness in case something goes wrong, so you know there's a witness. It took until after school for him to find his chance. When the teachers handed out assignments, he volunteered to clean the roof. John stepped onto the roof and headed to the far side. After a few seconds, he heard the door open again. He ignored it and instead climbed up to the tank. The upper area was meant to be blocked off, but the janitors had stopped putting up the ladder years ago. They should be fired for that. That's very reckless. He turned, and to his shock, she was already climbing up the ladder behind him. She's getting in close. This is definitely not a good sign. Reaching the top, she held her hands close to her chest and shuffled her feet demurely. But there was a spark in her eyes. Hello, Lizzie. Are you never going to greet me? Hello? Huh. I said it. I said it. Why are you following me? Because I like... Could this girl really have burned down the tree? It didn't seem like she had it in her. Appearances can be deceiving, John. You should know. You put on a front all the damn time for everybody around you. Were you the one leaving me notes in my locker? Yes. How did you know my combination? I watched you. Why did you get a new lock? Now I can't leave you things. You had no problem stuffing the notes in between the wedges of the door. Unless you wanted me to watch you? To learn a new combination? Is this a game? Sure, let's go with that. John realized that he was in way over his head. Yet his mouth was still moving, asking the inevitable question. Oh, sweet Jesus. Why did you burn it down? Because it was a stupid tree. You're so smart, you said it just right. It was awful and stupid, and I hate it, and I hate it, hate. It's all because of you, John. I could never do what needed to be done before. Now I can. John, please go talk to somebody, preferably an adult. She wasn't stable. She wasn't even close. What had he gotten himself into? A whole world of shit. I finally found you. You're the only one for me. Part of him knew that he should do something. Run away. Call for help. Yet you're not going to, right? Instead, you're just going to keep asking... Instead, you're just going to keep interrogating her. Why? Huh? Why do you care about me? How can you ask that? You're the best person. The only person. Well, since you seem so insistent on asking these questions to the clearly unstable girl right in front of you, Johnny boy, you might as well just go ahead and just ask again, why? Why are you the best person and the only person? What makes you so damn special? Bullshit. I'm just another high school boy. No, not even that. I'm worthless. No. No, no, no. Don't say that. It's not true. It's not. I'm broken. My brain doesn't work right, and even the strongest drugs don't make a difference. No, that's not true. John is perfect. Perfect. How can you say these things? The way her words flowed together, addressing him directly one moment and in third person the next, bothered him almost as much as the look in her eyes. Whatever her issue was, it went deep. You think? You're not well, Lizzie. You need help. It's your funeral, buddy. Telling this super crazy person that she needs help right to her face, with no backup to speak of whatsoever. You said my name. Yeah, he already did it when he saw you climbing up the ladder. Delayed reaction? But I can't help you. I'm not worth anything to anyone. Just forget about me and find someone else to care about. No. No, I could never. You're the only person who matters. But why? You don't even know me. You don't care about me. I'm just part of your problem. Well, at least you can recognize that. No. It would be better if I was gone. Maybe you'd get better then. That's not true. It's not! I love you, John. I always loved you. I'm impressed that she isn't getting violent already. I've watched you. Always. You're so good and kind and perfect, and even to a girl like me. He could barely even listen to her words. John found himself wandering closer and closer to the side of the building, and she followed him automatically. Don't get too close to the edge, man. You're so sad, but you're still kind. I don't know how. You should be broken like me, but you. I can't help you. If you want to help yourself, you need to forget about me and get real help. No! No, don't say that! You're confused. Yes, confused. Poor John is so depressed he's not thinking straight. He doesn't understand how much I love him. Oh God, she's even bringing out the knife. I knew she wasn't gonna stay non-violent forever at this rate, but still. Maybe we could get a little variety besides a knife, like, I don't know, a hammer maybe? Not that I want you to face any kind of grievous bodily harm of any kind, John, but I mean, yeah, just scream for help, please. He needs my help. The world froze for a moment as the knife glinted, and all he could do was stare at its edge. You need someone to take care of you. I'll stop everyone who says unkind things about you. No. No, I should just take you home and keep you there. Safe. Yes, you just need some help. Where the hell has she gotten that knife? Would she actually use it on him? You probably shouldn't leave any room for doubt and assume just to be on the safe side, yes, she would, and just react accordingly. Don't take any unnecessary chances. A second later, John realized that was a foolish thought. This girl had burned down a tree because he said it was stupid. Also a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. He had no idea if there was any limits on what she might do. And would that really matter? If you have any semblance of self-preservation, I would say yes. He spent nights lying in bed wishing he had never been born. Wishing he had a way to end it all. You can't threaten me. John? Get away from the edge. It's not safe. You might want to also back away from him, if not anything else. Maybe that's probably your best shot, getting him to back away from the edge. Because at this point, you've already put him in you already put yourself in a situation where he's already clearly considering the ultimate way out here, you know? Assuming that you're even rational enough to recognize that fact. He took several steps to the very edge before she could stop him and turned around to face her. The back end of his shoes hung off the edge of the building, nothing between him and a fatal fall. My life matters so much to you. Stop toying around with me. No! No, you don't understand! What do you even want? To stab me until I'm yours forever? Is that it? Never! John is so good and kind, I would never need to stab him. Please come away. I'll take good care of you. You can't. Maybe you have good intentions, but you need help. And unless you get it, you can only hurt me. I gotta say, you're handling this, you're addressing this whole situation in a manner I wasn't expecting you to. You're not a complete imbecile you're not approaching this like a complete imbecile, and I'm honestly surprised in a good way. Still want you to get away from that edge, though, because it would really suck if you died. I will. Whatever you want, I promise. Just don't hurt yourself. It was a lie, of course. She was just saying whatever it took to get him to step away from the edge. It was exactly how he imagined it would go. He'd stand at the edge and everyone would say all kinds of lies about how much he mattered to them, because they'd care for the first time. Not about him, but about the idea of him. But the look in her eyes, that couldn't be faked. It might be a twisted love, but she loved him utterly. So you're going to respond to that love despite acknowledging that it's twisted here just because it's genuine. Oh fucking K, man. Oh fucking K. You do you. She needed help too. Maybe he could be the one to help her. Assuming she didn't stab him. What the hell was he living for anyway? Lizzie, would you make a promise with me? A promise? I'll step away. I'll talk to you, or let you leave notes in my locker, or whatever it is you want. But you have to listen to me and get some help. Can you do that? You promise? You promise you won't leave me if I say yes? I won't leave you, Lizzie. Forever? Well, John? Forever? Even forever? The answer stuck in his throat, and he hesitated, wondering if he wasn't making a mistake in saying too much. But in the end, he swallowed and nodded. Okay, man, Okay. Come what may, then. Forever. Now set down the knife and I'll... Whoops. As he started to step away, John lost his balance and fell backward. Oh shit. Suddenly he was in free fall. Nothing between him and cold pavement. Whoa. Wow, she's quick. At that moment, Lizzie lunged forward, insanely fast, and grabbed his wrist. Impossibly, she held him up. Her body was thin, yet somehow she had stopped his fall and held him up with one hand. Adrenaline, maybe? I don't know. Her eyes had a mixture of unstable fear and twisted desire. In that moment, he knew with absolute certainty that if he had fallen, she would have thrown herself off after him. You can't die, John. You're the only one. The only one. With that same incredible strength, she pulled him back up to the rooftop. Fortunately, she had left the knife behind when she lunged to catch him, but he was still anxious being so close to her. John almost died. John, I love you. I won't let anything bad happen to you. You chose this, man. You chose this. It was clear she was completely unstable. But was she actually dangerous? She burned down a fucking tree! Of course she's dangerous! She seemed to care about him more than anything. Or was he just so pathetic that he'd latch onto anyone who showed him the slightest sign of affection? Worthless. Maybe a bit of that too. You'll keep your promise, right? Of course. Of course! And tomorrow, we'll go talk to someone. See if we can't get you some medication. Is that okay? If it's what John wants, then of course it's okay. Good. Then perhaps I want more than that. Of course you do. I love you, John. I've told you over and over. Don't you love me too? You know what? I wonder how loud the music is for you guys. I'm going to lower it a bit here. Should have thought to done that right from the get-go. I love you, John. I told you over and over. Don't you love me too? At least she was asking without the knife in her hand, but was there a good answer to that question? No, he had to think about it logically. Not really! That's your answer. She wanted him to answer yes, but that just might make her worse. The risk of saying no couldn't be ignored either, though. Oh, man. There's no surefire way here that either of these could go well. I'm going to assume that cautiously saying yes might be the right option. But I guess I kind of want to see what happens if I let her down gently. Who knows? Maybe this is the correct option. I doubt it, but well, let's see. Lizzie, I don't know you very well yet. Do you really want me to say those words carelessly? No, of course you're right. I'm stupid, so stupid. You can never love someone like me. And I didn't say that. I want to get to know you better, really. Yes. Yes, we should get to know each other very well. John desperately hoped that wasn't a mistake. He hoped this all wasn't a mistake. I hope for your sake that this all isn't a mistake too, man. I really do. I'm being critical of you because I care about you. Believe me. But he hadn't been stabbed yet. And after how today had gone, that was good enough for him. Then, I'll see you later, okay? I'll be watching you. But yes, later. You're not going to do anything crazy. No! John didn't reject me. That's all that matters. Good thing you don't feel rejected then, I guess. We both need to get to class, but we'll talk tomorrow, okay? Okay. The rest of the day was even more of a blur than usual. Everyone's voices not even echoing in his head. John could hardly believe what he had just done. I can hardly believe it either. It all seems like a dream now. Had Lizzie really pulled a knife on him? Had he really threatened to jump off a school building? It made him wonder if he wasn't the insane one. But no, it really happened. For better or for worse, he was stuck in this situation. Yep. Only when he was headed to bed did John realize that he felt strangely alive. Even better than after his therapy sessions. Well, after a day like you've had, I'd feel pretty alive too, but not in a way that I would find pleasant. Maybe it was the brush with death. Maybe it was just having someone to think about other than his pathetic existence. But he felt almost good. Good for you? Maybe that meant he was crazy too. But right now, he was just glad to sleep soundly. I think I'm... Yeah, I really do wonder how therapy sessions are even going to go. How all this is going to go. Because I will say, this is definitely different from what I typically see. Actually getting the yandere to agree to go to therapy with you. So, I am honestly intrigued to know what's going to happen. But I guess we can save that for the next episode, because I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut things off here. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of Crimson Gray. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys for the next episode and whatever kinds of crazy insanity that is going to wait us then. Take care.